recite every time. And we'll go straight into it. We'll read it together. I'll share my screen and we will read it all together. Okay, so I go straight to share my screen. So we all read it together. But while we are waiting for me to share my screen, I'll just, once those of us who are on the call this afternoon, to just go into the chat room and to just, say one or two things that you love about yourself. Just go into the chat room and say one or two things that you love about yourself, because it's very important we do that. We celebrate ourselves. Okay, Pia, thank you for sharing. I was just about doing that. Okay. So let's just go into the chat room before we take our vision and mission and just say one or two things that we love about ourselves. Is it your nose? Is it your eyes? Is it your hands, your lips, whatever it is? Just share in the chat room, because we don't appreciate ourselves enough. We don't do that enough. Let's go into the chat room. I want the chat room to buzz this afternoon. So before we do, our vision and mission, let's do that. Let's go into the chat room and just say one thing that we love about ourselves. And I think I'll go there first if I've not seen anyone doing that. Let's do that. It's part of the things we are here for. Let's celebrate ourselves. Let's go into the chat room. Yes, you love your life. I love my eyes. Yes, let's do more of this. You love your body, your beautiful mind. Yes, you love your smile. Yes, you love the way you love. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So you love yourself for the joy that flows from you. Amazing. Great. You are phenomenal. Amosmola is telling herself that she is phenomenal. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing what you love about yourself. So let's go and let's take our vision, our mission, and values. If you can unmute, would really appreciate if you can do that. And if not, we can just all go together the way we are. So our vision says, we are a tribe of influencers creating innovative solutions that transform our society, service to God and humanity. Our mission is to discover, develop, and deploy a tribe of saviors who determine what happens everywhere they go. And our values are trustworthiness, worship, influence, responsibility, and love. And we have our creed. It says we belong to a tribe of saviors and are trustworthy. Whatever goes out of us must first pass the test of worship unto God. We influence our world with superior lifestyle and solutions everywhere we go. And we take responsibility for what happens in us and around us. We are love, and heaven is what you experience when you encounter us. We are saviors. We create solutions for our world. Thank you so much, everyone. So that is what we stand for. That is who we are in the house of saviors. And we ensure that we propagate this anywhere and everywhere we find ourselves. So about now, I'm going to hand over to Pierre, who is going to introduce our guest, and will hand over to him. Thank you, and God bless.
Okay, thank you very much, Ayo. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you're joining us from. I want to appreciate you for joining once again. It's another Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the women, all the mothers in the house. We want to say thank you for being there for us. Thank you for who you are. I mean, most of the relationship lessons I learned in my life, I learned from my mom. I consider her to be the greatest family life coach I know. And it's not because she's my mom. If you have met her, you will know that my mom is just something else. I want to appreciate my mother-in-law as well. She's been amazing, amazing. Mothers are just so fantastic. I appreciate my wife. She's an amazing mother as well, and everyone in here. We celebrate you. I mean, we're not jealous because mothers. I don't know how many Mothers Day we have around the world right now, but Father's Day, I think it's just once. They managed to give us one. But we are grateful for the gift of you because I don't know what we would have done in this world without our mothers. Okay, today we're going to be looking on how to create sales pitches and how to improve your sales. And trust me, my brother, my friend is here. And one other thing I must announce, I was just speaking to another friend, he's a senior friend, Duke of Shomolu, and he's accepted to also come to the platform next month to share some other sales pitches skills with us. So Steve Harris is somewhere in the building. Steve is an amazing brother of mine of 18 years. We worked together, we drank Gary together, we had nothing. When we're nothing, we had nothing, we were together, and we're still together. It's about 30 minutes away from my house. I respect him. I have seen him do amazing stuff with mastering the business of your talent. One of the best courses I think exists out there if you want to improve your productivity and your sales, especially your business. All right. Okay, Steve, are you there? Where are you? Steve?
Hey, bro. How are you?
Okay, I can't. Your mic, can I see your video? Is your video on?
Yeah, my video is on.
Okay, I can see you now. Okay, thank God you are not in the cold today.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to Steve. Please, House of Saviors, can we make welcome Steve Harris? Please go to the chat box. Welcome him. Let's celebrate him. He's here again, and we really have to appreciate him. Steve, over to you.
Morning, bro. Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to all the amazing women in the house. You got to forgive me. I woke up about, 15 minutes ago, so I'm still booting. I don't know how praise does this at these ungodly hours. That's all I can say. Oh my goodness. I'm not really a morning person, so bear with me. So, whatever your time zone is, hi. It's good to be back again at the House of Saviors. Thank you for the nice comments. I see Prosper in the comments. Thank you for the very kind welcome. So today, we're going to be talking about, thank you, Peter. We're going to be talking about sales and marketing and stuff like that. I want to have a different approach today than I did last week. So this time I would like to answer questions that you might have. I don't want to go into a teaching spiel. I would rather answer your questions. So think about it like you're getting free consulting advice. Because I usually do not give free consulting advice, but because praise is my brother, it's something that I wouldn't mind doing. So if you've got a question concerning, if you've got a question concerning your sales or marketing or how to leverage your business, it would be great for you to raise your hand. Raise your hand virtually, you know what I mean? Raise your hand virtually, and I would be glad to answer your questions. I know we're streaming on YouTube. Unfortunately, I can't see questions from YouTube. But yeah, so I see someone's hand. Ifoma, please go right ahead. Hey, my girlfriend is here. Hello, Tosin girlfriend. My girlfriend is here. I think Ifoma had a question. But she raised her hand. Now she's dropped her hand. Okay. Come on, guys. I only have about an hour or so. So you got to ask me your questions. Let's be.
Okay, Steve, I'll go first.
Okay, bro. Sure.
One of the challenges people have is in, pitching what they sell. So someone is a teacher. he goes, come to my school or come and learn mathematics from me and things like that. Eventually, nobody's buying. You know, someone is maybe selling clothes. So people don't know how to differentiate between the experience and the product, you know, and I think that's a major problem for quite a number of people, at least from the people I've spoken to. You know, how can people navigate that?
Okay, so that's a great question. The problem many of us have as entrepreneurs, you know, and if you're an entrepreneur here, you really should be attending my Goliath program in Lagos on the 2nd of May. I know we talked about that last week, but I'll mention that again later. The biggest mistake that many entrepreneurs make is that they don't know how to communicate the value they offer. It's not usually your problem is not that your product isn't good or your customer service is whack. Your biggest problem is not being able to communicate the value you offer. Now, I said, you know, in a conversation yesterday that your value is only valuable to a customer that thinks it's valuable. I'll say that again. Your value is only valuable to a customer that thinks it's valuable. Now, if your customers don't believe that what you do is valuable, they're not going to put any value on it. So if you're not able to communicate what you do in a way that is valuable to the customer, then you're going to make a lot of problems. Now, how do you communicate this value? Usually, I use a very simple formula. I say, I help X do Y, so that's Z. I'll say that again. I help X. Now you're not limited to the word help, of course, but I help X do Y, so that's Z. Now X are the clients you intend to serve. So I help X. X are the clients you intend to serve. Y is the problem or solution you're offering, right? Y is the problem or solution you're offering or solving. And Z is their desired outcome, right? I help X to do Y, so that's Z. So X are the clients. Y is the problem you're solving or the solution you're offering. And Z is the desired outcome, right? So when you think about it from this perspective, it becomes a little bit easier to craft. What do you do? Now, not just that, you have to be able to, whatever value you're communicating has to be a, let me use the word, a fantasy or desire or deep, dark desire that the client has, right? Whatever you're communicating, that outcome at the end of the day, that Z must be a desired outcome or a desired fantasy, right? So let's give you an example. Let's say, let's take let me see, let me take, which category can I give you? Let's take pregnant women, for example, right? So if you solve a problem that pregnant women have, maybe let's say it's weight loss. Let's say weight loss is the solution, right? So for example, you can say, now remember, I help X. Now, who are the clients you're trying to help? Maybe pregnant women, right? But you have to also remember that you don't want to use the word pregnant women. So you won't say, oh, I help pregnant women do this. You can say something like, I help new moms. Because again, if a woman is pregnant, is she the one that you want to help her lose weight, for example? Or is it a woman who was just put to bed? So I'm assuming, for the sake of this exercise, you're trying to serve somebody who has just given birth, give or take a couple of weeks, right? So you won't just say, oh, I help women that have just given birth. You have to be able to think about it in a simple term. I help new moms, right? I help new moms, right? I help new moms. So new moms are the clients. Now, what's the solution you provide, the problem you solve? I help new moms snatch back. So for example, let's say, rather than say, oh, help new moms lose weight, they don't really want to lose weight. Women don't really want to lose weight for the sake of losing weight. They want to lose weight for the sake of looking great. I hope you got what I said. People don't necessarily want to lose weight for the sake of losing weight. They lose weight because they want to look great, right? So I help new moms, right, get their sexy back, or I help new moms, go from a size 22, for example. Let's say an average woman, hypothetically, an average woman gets up to a size 22 when she gives birth or when she's pregnant. I help new moms go from a size 22 to a size 8. Now that's a clear problem. You didn't say you'd help them lose weight. You told them how much weight you're going to help them lose. I hope this is making sense. Please drop a comment, okay? So you didn't say I help women lose weight. If that's the case, to lose weight, then they can drink slimming teas. They can go to the gym. They can, to get on a diet, on a program, because your proposition is not clear. But when you say I help new moms, for example, lose 7 dress sizes, or I help new moms, go from a size 22 to a size 10, so that they can pepper everybody, for example, that's the outcome. Now, remember that I said your outcome has to be something that is a deep, dark desire. So I don't want to just say, oh, I help new moms go from a size 22 to a size 10 so that they can feel good about themselves. People, they don't really want to feel good about themselves. They want to look great. And in looking great, my looking great many times is usually at the expense of somebody else. This is why I said it's a deep, dark desire. And usually that deep, dark desire has to be something that I'm not willing to admit. I don't want to admit to anyone. It's in my heart, but my mouth doesn't want to say it because it sounds narcissistic. It sounds selfish. But that's the deep, dark desire in my heart. So I help new moms go from a size 22 to a size 10 so that so now this is the desired outcome, so that, for example, they look better than any other woman, whether they were pregnant or not, something like that. That part can be tweaked so that they look better, but so that they look like they've never been pregnant before. You know what I mean? Something like that. Because a woman who's been pregnant before, she doesn't want, the way you see celebrities, maybe celebrities or whatever, you see, oh, this person gave birth, Kim Kardashian or whoever gave birth, and 2 weeks later, it looks like they've gotten their body back, like they were never pregnant in the first place. They even look better before they became pregnant. So, for example, I help new moms go from a size 22 to a size 10 so that they look better than they did before they ever got pregnant, something like that, right? So that's my deep, dark desire. So if you think about it from that perspective, you can now craft your proposition. And now here's the most important thing. How do you know your proposition works? You know your proposition works when the person you are talking to about your proposition says to you, wow, tell me more. Please, help me now. Oh yeah, tell me more. How do I sign up? If you don't get a, how do I sign up? If you don't get a, tell me more. If you don't get a, wow, your proposition is not compelling. Right? So that's what you need to do. You need to think about it from that perspective. So using a pregnant woman, I help new moms, go from a size 22 or lose 10 dress sizes or whatever, you know what I mean? So that they look way better than they ever did, even before they got pregnant. You know what I mean? Something like that. So it requires thoughts. It requires clarity. The problem many of us have, we don't even have clarity about what we do. You know what I'm saying? We don't have clarity about what they do. You let's say you're a teacher, and I don't want to give expo to everybody, but let's say you're a teacher and your job, you teach in a school. Let's say you're a teacher, you teach in a school and your category is maybe high school kids, right? Who are preparing for their SATs or any of those kinds of things, right? So you can say, what do? You don't say I'm a teacher. Again, I help X to Y so that Z, right? So, for example, I coach high school students, for example. I coach high school students to crush their SATs so that they can get into an Ivy League school. Simple, right? So I coach high school kids to crush their SATs, right? To crush their SATs or to get their highest SAT scores. So let's be more specific, right? I coach high school kids to get their highest SAT scores so that they can end up in an Ivy League school. That's what you do. But you can't say I'm a lesson teacher. That does not, do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't communicate value. So remember that your value must be valuable to the customer. The customer must think it's valuable, or else you're not communicating value. I hope that helps. I gave a long answer to a short question.
Okay, does any other person have a question? Please, you can drop your questions and we'll take, Steve will take them. I mean, it's so that I think this is actually better. Okay, so I think Ghania has raised her hand. Ghania, please unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And thank you again, Mr. Steve, for doing this for us. Okay, so my question is for someone, those of us in the service industry, that we kind of cater to different categories of people. So using us counselors as an example, maybe we have services for singles, for maybe about to weds and married couples. So do we need to craft our pitches for each category? For instance, I help singles do blah, blah, blah. I help married couples achieve XYZ. Do we need to craft them separately like that, or we should just have a blanket?
I would recommend you crafting them separately and then communicating to the audience when you meet them. So if you meet a single person, if you meet single people, you use this. If you use married people, you use that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You guys ask me questions though. This is free consultation. So ask me now. Don't slide in my DM. I will answer you.
Okay, Steve, I mean, some people will tell you that, yes, they have crafted this, they've gone on social media, they put a price tag, but still it's as if people are not patronizing them. What could be the problem and what could the solution be?
Well, again, I think we are in the era where you have to go to the customers. Previously we would put content out there or, put your products out there and you would expect that the customers will come and meet you. They'll be beating down your door. But I think the rules have changed. Now you have to go to the customers. Now you have to see how you can funnel the customers into whatever it is that you do that is considered valuable. Again, like I said, the biggest issue you have is a communication issue. It's a marketing issue. And it's not because I'm not saying all these things because I'm saying you should speak English. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to communicate to their fantasy. You need to communicate to their deep, dark desire. You need to communicate to their sense of fear. You need to communicate to their sense of faith. You know what I mean? And communicating to all these areas, it becomes a little bit easier. But then again, you have to now go out there, because don't forget that whatever you're doing, there are so many competitors out there who do exactly what you do and perhaps might even do it better. And I've posted once and I said, it's not because they're better than you. The only difference is that they market better than you. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us, that's the problem we have. We're too shy. We're too insipid. We're too blasé and modest about what we do. We don't know how to toot our own horn, right? The truth is, there's this phrase that I wanted to say. Yes, I remember. Thank you, Lord. The truth is, money doesn't always go to the person that delivers the most value. I'll say this again. Money doesn't always go to the person that delivers the most value. Money goes to the person that is loudest about the value they deliver. I will say this again. Money doesn't always follow or go to the person that delivers the most value. Money goes to the person or business that is loudest about the value they deliver. Right? If you've ever taken a bus, interstate bus like Danfo, or I don't think BRTs do it, but let's say maybe like a Danfo, you would see that the conductors are shouting, right? They may all be going in the same direction, but the conductors don't leave it a chance to expect you to use your church mind to enter the bus. No, you will hear them shouting, Gary, they shout. In fact, it even goes beyond shouting. When they see that you look like the person who's going to Oshodi, what do? They go and meet you. They carry your bag. and they start bringing you into the bus. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Maybe if you've traveled interstate or intrastate, that usually happens, right? So money doesn't always follow the person who delivers value. Money follows the person who is loudest. Thank you, Mutsalini. Money follows the person who is loudest about the value they deliver. So you've got to be loud. You've got to reach the customer, help them carry their bag into your bus. Carry their bag, they will follow you into the bus. You know what I mean? So what's their bag? What's their burden? What's their fear? What's their anxiety? Where are they going? You know what I'm saying? If you help them carry that, if you help them solve that problem, and you see, you start showing them, I can help you solve this problem. You know, I'm able to do this. Let me take the weight off your shoulders, right? What's going to happen? They're going to follow you into the bus. But you've got to be loud, and you can't expect to say that, oh, you know, I'm good at what I do. You know, the Bible says that, you know, God humbles the proud and exalts the humble. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. He will exalt you in due time. You know, I can't, you know, God will speak for me. I don't need to shout. You know, if I'm good, people will find me. It's a lie. If you're good, you better shout about it. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, somebody else who does not have the gifting, the ability, the skill set, the products, the heart, none of the stuff you have, but the person is making so much noise, that person will continually outsell you. It doesn't matter whether their product is great or not. It's the fact that they're louder about their proposition. You know, you got to be able to do the same. So yeah, long answer, short question.
Some people will tell you that you don't have to appear desperate. You know, that if you are shouting all the time, it looks like you are needy or you are desperate. How do you balance that?
You're not broke enough now, because you're not broke enough. You know what I'm saying? You are desperate. You are desperate. You must be able to make a sale, but you've got to be able to communicate value. I'm not saying shout like a random, you know, no disrespect conductor. What I'm saying is be loud about the stuff that you do. You know, how many of you here, for example, are pushing ads to your business, whether it's Facebook ads or Instagram ads? That's being loud about your business. Where people meet you and they say, oh, I see your ads everywhere. It's like your ads are just following me. I went on YouTube, I saw your ad. I was on Instagram, I saw your ad. I went to Facebook, I saw your ad. It's like it's like you're everywhere. That's being loud about what you do. It's about getting referrals. It's about people talking about the amazing things you're doing. That's being loud about what you do, right? And I don't know about what you think. Who cares if people think you're desperate? Because you are desperate. You want to be able to make a sale. Do you think the market woman who sells bully on the road sits there because she really wants to, because she's passionate about it? Absolutely not. She's there because she is committed to a cause. She's there because she's desperate to put food on the table. You know what I mean? Do you think Coca-Cola is just there, you know, comfortable because they've got, you know, the biggest brand in the world? Absolutely not. They are desperate to compete. In fact, Coca-Cola's vision is, you know, Pepsi's vision, right, and all the other guys is to bring Coke down, is to beat Coke. Coke's vision is to beat water. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Coke wants to be the first liquid you think about when you're thirsty, right? Other people are trying to beat Coke. If that's not desperation, then I don't know what is. And, you know, who cares what people think? As long as you're offering a service that is valuable, as long as you're offering a service. And here's the truth. You've got to remember, not everyone is your customer. There's some people who will be ticked off at you, who will never buy from you. And that's okay. But my sheep hear my voice, and the voice of a stranger, they will not obey. There are people who are your tribe that when you put stuff out there, they will gobble it up because they know you're delivering value. They know that you're good for it. They know you're here to serve. They know that your products is great. And if you don't, you know, they say that darkness thrives when light decides to keep quiet, right? You remember, in your industry, no matter whatever industry you're in, there are quacks also. The quacks are even louder than the originals. Do you get what I'm saying? The quacks are even louder than the originals. You know what I mean? So if you're keeping quiet, thinking that, oh, don't worry, they'll find me because I'm an expert, I'm good at what I do, my work will speak for me, it's a lie. Your work is not speaking, you know, and even if it is speaking, it's speaking at a whisper. You're not loud enough for the real people to hear you. If you have light, then you've got to speak louder than darkness. Do you get what I mean? Don't expect that people will naturally gravitate to, they will find you on Instagram. No, I don't need to shout. I don't need to do this. I don't need to be desperate. No, you're not desperate. You're just trying to, Jesus said, my sheep hear my voice, and the voice of a stranger they will not obey, which means that there are two voices. There's him speaking, and then there's the voice of the stranger. So you've got to be clear that people, the voice of the stranger is probably louder, but Jesus says, my sheep will hear my voice, and the voice of a stranger they will not obey. So you've got to recognize that if people are not hearing your voice, they're going to your competitor, which is the stranger. So be desperate, my friend. Be very, very desperate.
There's a question on the chat box by Motolani. So when you say money follows the person who is the loudest, if your business is a B2B, where do you make all the noise?
If your business is a B2B,
yeah,
it's the same thing. You've got to be able to ask yourself, how will they find you? Right? The people who run B2B, the question is, how will they find you? I remember, I have a B2B business as well. I do consulting, and my clients are banks, multinationals, and this, that, and the other, right? Your results will speak. You must be able to communicate your results. So for example, one of the things that we do is when we have press releases and we do stuff, right, that gets us on the news or this, that, and the other, we send it to our clients. You know what I'm saying? We copy our clients in the emails and say, oh, hey, guess what? Education has been listed as this, or our CEO, Steve Harris, won this award, or this, that, and the other. We are pointing it in, we're putting in the faces of our clients that we are bigger than they perceive us. Because again, the truth is your clients will always try to see how they can get a better deal. Right. So we are deliberate about, everything that we're doing. We promote it. We share it with our clients to be able to show them, education has won this award, or CEO Steve Harris has been nominated for this. He was featured on Forbes. You can take a look at it. So when they see you, and they communicate with you, you're now a little bit more larger than life. Right. You're a little bit larger than life. So if you're dealing with B2B businesses, right, it's in the same vein. You still got to be out there. You've even got to show how you're helping your clients get results. So I know everyone is in a different kind of business, right? But you've got to be very deliberate about the way you help your clients get results. Let me give you an example with my Master in the Business of Your Talent program. It's a coaching program that I run. And my proposition is clear. I want to help you make your highest sales yet in 6 weeks. We will make whatever you've done before, we'll beat it. That's my proposition in 6 weeks, right? Now, one of the things that I recognize is clients don't like to give testimonials, right? Clients don't like to give testimonials. They want to keep it, right? They don't want other people to know that you're the one that helped them, particularly in my industry, and Praise will, verify this. So one of the things I do with my program is I take away the power from the customer to give me testimonials. I take that power away from them. No one on my program has the power to deny me a testimonial. Do you know why? So when people sign up to my program, one of the things we ask them was, what did you make in the previous month? Right. And so they would fill the form. They will fill a form and it's, we made 3 million last month. Fantastic. Now, during our coaching program, every week, we give them financial goals. They have to record their revenue and send it to us. So guess what? Over a period of 6 weeks, my coaches, my team are, my coaches and my team are documenting their revenue over a 6-week period. So at the end of the day, I can tell that Adenike came in to MBT, and in January, her business made 3 million naira. By the end of MBT, 6 weeks later, her business made 18 million naira. Now, guess what? When Adenike fills the form at the beginning of the program, what Adenike doesn't know is that when she fills that form, she fills a lot of information: her name, her email address, her phone number, her Instagram handle, right? And maybe something or the others. Guess what's going to happen? By the time the program is done, I have Adenike's before, I have Adenike's after. So guess what? I know what she made before the program. I know what she made after the program. I can go to her Instagram handle and I'll find her. I'll take Adenike's picture, put it on my page, and I'll just put something nice. Adenike, this is her industry. Adenike, this is her handle. Came into MBT. Before MBT, she made 3 million. After MBT, 18 million naira. Now, guess what? Adenike is going to, if Adenike is probably, for example, no, I didn't ask you to put, you didn't take my permission. I'll say, when you filled the form, there was a fine print at the bottom of the webpage. Did you read it? It says, by filling this form, you have waived your right to deny the Steve Harris Company a testimonial. I said, go and read it. It's there. And it's there. So I said, by filling this form, you guys know that when you, for example, when you download an app or software to your phone or your computer, there's a lot of, do you read the fine print? You don't read it. You just want the app. But guess what? By the time you're going to complain, they're like, no, it's there. It's in our contract. You have waived the rights for us to, we have the rights to use your image and your content for testimonials. It's there, right? But if you're not thinking like a business, somebody will say that I'm sneaky, but if you're not thinking like a business, because you know that testimonials is important it's the lifeblood of your business. And guess what? Even if Adenike is complaining, she won't complain too much. You know why? Because she gets on my page. I have 130 something thousand people following me right now on Instagram, for example. It's free visibility, it's publicity, because guess what? I will say nice things about Adenike. So it's not like I'm going to use Adenike's stuff and just use it for the heck of it. I will say, and I'm very good with words. I will say some really amazing things about Adenike. I'll even tell my followers to follow her. And I'm like, listen, me posting your content on my page, because we charge for that, right? As an influencer, we charge for that. So an average post on my page that you see that may be sponsored or collaborated with, the person is paying nothing less than 300,000 naira. So I've given you 300,000 naira worth of visibility and publicity on my page, right? So what's the use of complaining? Do you get what I mean? So my point is, you need to be able to have that kind of structure that takes away the power, from your clientele to deny you the rights to promote yourself. And, and you have to also be deliberate to inform them about the great strides that you're doing. When we started MBT, when we repositioned our model to be more salesy, to be more sales outcome driven, right? The first MBT I did that followed that model, I had 200 people and they made 780 million there, which is a big friggin' deal. Then the next time I did it, I had 230 people, right? And they made 1.7 billion naira. Now, what does that tell you? It means that the results are going crazy. The next time I did it, I had 120 people. They made 1.4 billion naira, right? The next time I did it, which is this last time, I had 77 people. They made 892 million naira. Now, what does that tell you? It means I have something that works, right? So if my proposition is I'm going to help you make your highest sales yet in a 6-week period, then I can demand top dollar and, that sort of thing. Okay. Again, long answer, short question.
Someone is asking, is running Facebook ads really worth it? Especially when we want to make sales from such ads. And another person is asking, in our educational scenario, who is the client? The students or the parents, considering that the students are the primary consumers, while parents are so no, I think you need to separate consumers from customers. I think this person, your customer are the parents, your consumers are the children, as it were, but I'll leave Steve to handle that. Then
no, it's correct. You're correct.
What steps did you take to reposition the business? That's the third question there.
What steps did I take to reposition the business? My business?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure I understand the context of the question, though.
Please, Mutolani, can you ask your question properly? But there's a question on, is running Facebook ads really worth it? Especially when you want to make sales from such ads. Let me add to that to say that, so I see people who do different contrasting things and they're trying to push everything at the same time. Let's say I'm a family life coach and I also sell Boli and Epa, and I'm promoting both on my page. And at the end of the day, it looks like nobody's coming to me. Personally, I think that it could be counterproductive, because you're confused the crowd. But what's your professional take on that?
Oh, I agree. I think if you have two contrasting and clearly distinct brands, opposites and distinct brands, you need to separate them. You can't be a family life coach and promoting Bolianik on your page. You can't. You have to separate both of them because they're two opposites. They're polar opposites. That's what you need to do. But to the question, ads are important. Now, the reason ads don't work is your copy, your content. That's the reason it doesn't work. So think about Facebook ads like a microphone, right? Think about Facebook ads as like a microphone. So for example, if I was a preacher and I was preaching in my church and I was using my microphone and I wanted people to give their lives to Christ, for example, I wanted to convert them, as the case may be. If I preached my message with all energy into this microphone and no one got saved, is it the microphone's fault? No, it's my fault, because whatever I said probably was not compelling enough for them to make that decision. It's in the same vein. Social media, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, they're like the microphone. They only amplify what you say. So if your ads are not converting, there's something wrong with your copy. Your copywriting, your copy is not connecting to the demographic. And I've told you what it is. And I think a lot of us are just talking about how amazing our content is or how amazing our product is, as opposed to showing, the client why this will be valuable to them. You know what I mean? Why this should be valuable to you. This is why you need this, because this is why it's valuable to you. Recognizing what their pain points are, recognizing what their deep, dark desires are, recognizing what their fantasies are. That's what you need to communicate. So if your ads aren't working, it's not the ads problem, it's the copy. Your copy is not converting. So you need to check that out.
Okay. Brittany is asking, what are the most important parts to focus on when starting a business?
The most important parts to focus on when you're starting a business, you need to ask yourself, is there a market? Is there, I say it like this, it's not enough for you to ask yourself, is there a gap in the market? So many entrepreneurs, start up because they're trying to bridge a gap in the market. So like, oh, I see that there's nobody providing this. Let me bridge the gap. Let me meet the gap. But the question is not just, is there a gap in the market? You've got to ask yourself, is there a market in the gap? Right? So I'll say that again. It's not enough to say or ask yourself, is there a gap in the market? You must also ask, is there a market in the gap? That this gap I'm trying to fill, is there really a market for it? You know what I mean? So you've got to be able to ask yourself, is there a market? Is there a hungry market? Is there a hungry market for what you offer? Is the market big enough? How many people out of 10 would consider this thing urgent and important to them, right? So if it doesn't fit those parameters, if the market is not big enough or any of those kinds of things, you're not going to make any money. You know what I mean? So even before your product or service, you must answer the question, answer the questions. Number one, is there a gap in the market? And more importantly, is there a market in the gap? So, yeah.
Yeah, this person is asking, I have more followers on Facebook than on Instagram, but it seems Instagram pays more than Facebook. Do I need to put more effort in growing the Instagram or focus on Facebook where I have followers who are mostly family and friends? Is there a particular benefit on Instagram than Facebook?
Well, I think every platform is different. Every platform has their DNA. Instagram is more tailored to, let me use the word promotion, self-promotion, right? So people can trade on Instagram because there's a lot of self-promotion going on. There's a lot of business promotion. Facebook, in my opinion, I don't have the mastery over Facebook like someone like Praise does. I don't know how Praise does it, but I can't sell anything on Facebook. I just can't. I've tried it, doesn't work. You know what I mean? Maybe again because family and friends, but I don't think I've ever made a sale. I could be wrong. My social media guys might tell me different, but I don't think I've ever made a sale on Facebook. Right now, again, it could be the fact of how, again, the platform is and how you communicate on the platform. How you communicate on Twitter is not the way you communicate on Facebook and on Instagram. They all have their messaging DNA, so to speak, right? Praise is very successful at communicating on Facebook. I don't know how he does it. He posts something I think maybe it was yesterday, I was on his page and I saw he posted something, he had like 128 comments. I'll write something deep, and I'll barely get 3. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Right. But I'll take that same thing to Instagram and all of a sudden, boom, it goes gangbusters. So I think you need to understand the DNA of the platform. You also need to understand the messaging of the platform. You also need to understand the market in the platform. So if Facebook works for you, so someone like Praise, I would always recommend, since he's very big on Facebook, Praise will sell gangbusters on Facebook. You know, someone like me, I always sell way better on Instagram than I do on Facebook. So find the platform that works for you and use it.
Okay, this person asks, do you need to create two different social media accounts for different business ideas you're trying to run with, like having coaching and publishing business at the same time? Let me just make a comment before Steve talks. I think there is something about us Nigerians that we never do one thing at a time. We are always trying to do three every time. You know, even in introducing ourselves, what do you do? I'm a therapist. At the same time, I produce Milo. And also sometimes I drive Uber. You know, I think that you first need to focus before your name can diversify what you're, but it looks like we're trying to do 5 things at the same time. But I leave it to you, Steve.
No, don't leave it to me. You've already answered the questions. So there's nothing more to say. You've said it all.
Because what my mentor taught me is, focus your signal. Let one thing bring you to the market. When you get to the market and your name is
diversify.
known, whatever carries your name can diversify. But most of the time when I meet people, introduce yourself. Even in meetings, I'm forwarding, I'm sidewaying, I'm roundabouting. They're just doing this multiple
streams of income. See, you need to recognize that before there's a stream, there's one river. Do you get what I mean? Rivers branch out into streams. So you can't have multiple streams of income unless you have one significant river. So you got to remember that.
Okay, thank you. Any other question? Going. The next time you see Steve, you will need to pay. And
yes, please, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
So you mentioned earlier about you repositioning your business. So that's what I was asking about. What's the step? How do I reposition myself? I am known for something, but I want to come out in a new way. So how do I position? How do I push myself out so that people then know that, okay, this is what this business is about now, different from what you've always known the business to be?
Okay. So let me share a little bit from my experience. So let's say as recently as 2010, 11, 12, let's say as recently as 2000 and maybe 13, right? Steve Harris was recognized more as a motivational speaker who had dropped out of school, right? So my message, then I had written a book called From College Dropouts to Corporate Sellouts, where I chronicled my experience of being a 2-time college dropout and blah, blah, blah. Sold a lot of copies, over 10,000 physical copies. Really, powerful book. I would get a lot of invitations to campuses, colleges, churches, and the whole 9 yards to share my story. And I did for quite a while. But then I realized that I wanted to be taken, quote unquote, more seriously, because I didn't want to be 50 years old and go into colleges and talking to them about how I dropped out of school and how they should find themselves. I felt like my message had changed. Because I tell coaches particularly, I said, your message has an expiry date. Your message has an expiry date. So you've got to be able to know when it's time to pivot. So I realized that I wanted to be known for something different. I wanted to be taken a lot more seriously beyond just being a motivational speaker, which I'm very proud of anyway. But I wanted also to be known more as a business coach. So one of the things that I told my office very quickly was, I said, number one, we will not speak at campuses again. Number one. Number two, right? Because I needed to say, in order for me to say yes to this new brand of mine, I needed to say no to the old one. And it was hard because this old one was paying the bills, right? But I told my team that, number one, we're not going to campuses anymore. Number two, if anyone sends an invitation with the question or with the statements that we want Steve Harris to share his story or come and inspire the young people, there were some words that we had blacklisted: young people, campus, university, church, share your story, inspire the young. What if we see anything in those kinds of permutation? I gave my team carte blanche that the answer was no. No matter how painful it was for me, I said to them, the answer is no, that I'm not going to do this. And it was very hard because, again, like I said, I had built a brand of this, motivational speaker who was inspiring young people. But I knew that I didn't just want the student demographic. Again, no disrespect to the student demographic, particularly in Nigeria, they're broke.
Yeah.
They can't pay. They're broke, right? Best they'll do is buy your book after you have heavily subsidized the price. So you're even leaving at a loss. You know what I mean? So yes, I could invest in their future. And maybe 10 years later, when they're bank MDs or they're working in an executive position, they can recommend me. But all they will remember of me is this guy who, spoke to them, in their school a couple of years before. So I realized that I needed to change that. So it was incredibly difficult. But then I had to now go hard on my business expressions, my coaching expressions as that business coach. So I stopped talking about being a college dropout. I stopped talking about, things that I was passionate about, so to speak, which was purpose, finding your passion, living your best life, all those things that we talk about, right? I stopped saying all of that. And I started going hard on business, started going hard on results, started going hard on money, all those kinds of things. And it took a while, to be honest. It took at least minimum, maybe 9 months before I started getting invitations or traction in that regard. That's when I now launched my Mastering the Business of Your Talents, which I think I launched it in 2013. Yeah, 2013, Mastering the Business of Your Talents, right? And if you notice, there's the word business is there, right? And it was deliberate, and boom. Now, Praise said something that was so powerful, talking about being able to focus and not being known for too many things. Now, guess what? I've been teaching Mastering the Business of Your Talents since 2013. That is 9 years, right? I have other coaching programs, but I said to myself, this thing, I have, when I do the math, and I say this with all sense of humility. One day I calculated how much I had made from this program, right? Particularly the online version. Forget about the physical versions and stuff like that. Praise, I looked at it and I said we had done, conservatively, and I don't mean to sound atrocious, from online, I'd probably made 200 and something million naira. Yeah. Even the baby at the back is like, what? You know what I'm saying? Right. But that is one program, right? I didn't diversify into too many things. That's just, MBT. I have another one, monetize your message. I don't push it that much. I don't really push it that much, but yeah. So my point really is this: I had to now go hard on the brand. I wanted people to be reminded of, I changed our bio, changed our profile. So if you Google me, there are 3 Steve Harrises of significance on the internet, as far as I'm aware. There's a British rock musician, there's a Hollywood actor, and then there's me. Were the 3 that significantly will come up first. Now, when you type in, if you search for me, the first paragraph of what you will see is Steve Harris is widely regarded as a trusted authority in the fields of life and business strategy. He is this. Now, guess what? Who wrote it? It's me that wrote it now. It's me that wrote it. So when people Google me, that's what you see. Steve Harris is widely regarded as a trusted. I don't want to say Steve Harris is Nigeria's because I'm bigger than Nigeria. No disrespect. Even Africa says Steve Harris is regarded. Steve Harris is widely regarded as a trusted authority in the fields of life and business strategy. His clients are, Africa, Asia, yada 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 yada. So my point is, you've got to be deliberate. If you don't define yourself, the markets will define you. Right? If you don't define yourself, the market will define you. And unfortunately, when the market defines you, right, you will hear all sorts of things. Even Jesus faced a bit of that quandary when he asked his management team, he asked his board members, who do the market say that I am? And some guy said, oh, the market says that, oh, you're Elijah. Oh, no, the market says you're John the Baptist, right? All of which was true. But what they were saying is, oh, you are a prophet. Elijah was the most significant prophet of the Old Testament. John the Baptist was the most significant prophet of the New Testament. Some say you're a healer, some say you're this. But what Jesus was expecting, right? What was really listening for was how many of the markets, what does the market do? The market define me as a king. Somebody's microphone is on. This is very important, what I'm about to say. Praise, can you help me with whoever is in the background? Right? So he says, what do they say? They said, oh, you're a prophet, Elijah, you're Jeremiah, you're John the Baptist raised from the dead. Now, all of that was true. But Jesus recognized that what he was looking for, this is very important, was, would anybody regard me as Messiah? Would anybody regard me as a king? So when Peter says, oh, you're the Christ, Jesus now says, listen, he says, now you are correct. Flesh and blood didn't reveal this to you, blah, blah, blah. Now let's go on a little bit further. Please forgive me if you're not Christian or you're not religious. Just bear with me. This is important. From that moment where Peter says, oh, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God, you're the Messiah. From that moment, when Jesus goes into his trial, his crucifixion, his meeting with Pilate, every conversation about him, you would see the word king. They say he is the king of the Jews. He said that he will do this. When he got to Pilate, Pilate said, they say you are a king. They didn't say you're a prophet. They say you are this, right? Because the religious order knew that if Jesus was positioned as a religious threat, there will be no need to kill him. There are religious zealots everywhere. But if he was positioned as a governmental political threat, the powers that be will need to take him out. So guess what? They now began to say, Jesus is a king. Jesus is a king. So when he gets to Pilate, Pilate says, I hear you're a king. Now, Jesus didn't back down and said, no, I'm not a king. Oh, no, God forbid. How can I say that I'm a king? I didn't say that. Did you hear me say that? Did you hear me say that? No. Jesus now begins to say to the guy, he says, listen, you say that I'm a king and I say that I'm a king. And my father, and he begins to speak in political and governmental language. He says that, listen, you will have a diplomatic situation on your hands because all I need to do is to say the word and my father will send his armies. That's a governmental conversation, right? Jesus and Pilate go back and forth. Pilate now says, you know what? Far be it from me to kill the king of the Jews. Let me send him to Herod. He sends him to another king, right? Herod and Jesus, or Herod tries to have a conversation with Jesus. Jesus doesn't answer. And personally, I feel like the reason Jesus didn't answer was because it's a long story. Jesus didn't answer because technically Herod was sitting on his throne. But anyway, let's go back to the issue. By the time Jesus is crucified, what do they put on his cross? What is the inscription on the cross? This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. So my point is, you must tell the market who you are, or else the market will brand you a prophet, the market will brand you a teacher, the market will brand you whatever. You've got to define you. You've got to be very clear about it. It must be unambiguous. You must begin to say it until it enters the consciousness of everybody. They may laugh at you to scorn. They may say, even when they were crucifying Jesus, what did they dress him as? He's not a king, they dressed him. They got a robe, they put a crown on his head. Abi, is that nonsense? He was a king. So you've got to be very deliberate about your marketing message, about the communication, about the brand you want that you want seared in people's heads when they think about you. Nobody thinks about me and thinks of me as a motivational speaker alone. Why? No disrespect. I am a motivational speaker. I'm proud of it. But guess what? I have results in terms of revenue business results that many most motivational speakers, I dare say, do not have, right? So you can't categorize me as an aspire to perspire, because when you look at my track record, look at the businesses that I've helped with significant evidence, you can't just say this guy's a motivational speaker. I have defined myself how I want to be defined. And you as an entrepreneur, you got to do the same.
Fantastic. I hope that answers that question. Any other question? We can take one more before we allow Steve goes. Let me see the comment box. Okay, so much value. People are
thank you, Ghanaians. Thank you.
Appreciating you. Okay.
Thank you, Matolini.
If there is no, this house is very, it looks
it's
like
very quiet. So they are
always very active. I don't know what's happening to them.
Are you a house of saviors or a house of silence? What's going on?
So you guys have become House of Silence. We'll soon change your logo now. Okay. Okay. Someone is saying I have a question. Okay. Yeah, I had a question. Let me see. I think he put it.
You're
up.
simulating.
Yeah. Personal brand and product brand, which is more preferable in getting more attraction, leveraging on social media handle.
I don't know. It depends on every individual. You know, there's, maybe 5-10 years ago, corporate brands were all the rage. Now personal brands have a lot more flexibility. But the challenge with personal brand, of course, is if anything happens to you that is scandalous, for example, that will affect your corporate brand, as the case may be. It really depends on you. I mean, I have a personal brand. Even though I have a corporation, I have a personal brand. Many people know me, then they know the name of my company. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. And don't be afraid to embrace it. Don't be embarrassed to embrace it. Back in the day, they used to make us feel bad for having our own personal websites and personal brands. So you need to be like GTB. How many people know the MD of GTB? Yeah, I'm not a bank, fam. I'm not a bank. Do you get what I'm saying? I am not a bank. This is what I do. This is who I am, right? What's the name of Barack Obama's business? Do you know? Well, Barack Obama is a personal brand, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Trump and Trump organization. Who do you think is a bigger brand right now? Donald Trump is a bigger brand. And if you do it well, if you navigate it well, the goodwill on your personal brand can extend to your corporate or products or service brands, because people like you, they know you, they trust you. You know what I mean? So yeah, it depends on you. Do you have the charisma for a personal brand? Do you have the following for a personal brand? Because again, the thing about the personal brand is that it cannot just be you. Your personal brand doesn't mean it's just only you. You're the only person. You know what I mean? Personal brand means there are other people. There are other people following you. You know what I mean? If nobody's following you, please stick to your corporate brand. But a personal brand requires a cult-like thinking. You have to be able to think like a cult leader. You have to be like what Praise is doing. It's like you guys are like a cult. Allow me to use that term. So it's like your cult leader. You guys have values. You read your values. You cult people. You read your values. You read your ethos. You read your vision. That's what a personal brand is. So if you don't have the charisma, if you don't have the capacity, if you don't like controversy, if you don't like to be dragged like a tiger generator on the streets of Twitter, I beg you, do not go for a personal brand. But if you've got the stomach for it like we do, please, by all means, let's do it.
Okay, Billy's is raising our hand. That will be the final person.
Yes, please. This is Olabi.
Oh, Olabi, how are you?
I'm good. Hi, Steve. Thank you for this. Actually, my question goes around what you just spoke about. Okay, I have a product that I push on Instagram, and I also have my personal Instagram page. So I'm thinking, I just want to understand your own, from your experience. Do you think I should match it together? I should keep them separately? Which
keep
one
them
is the
separate.
best?
Keep them separate.
Okay, thank you.
Keep them separate.
And
if they are diverse products, if they're diverse products, so like you, like Praise said, you're an individual, you're a personal brand, but you're selling Gary and Ekba, like he said, then keep them separate. But if they're extensions of who you are, like coaching, consulting, you can still keep them separate, but you can still get away with the going in and out of personal corporate. But if they're two distinct different products and services, then keep them separate.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to meeting you at your next program in Dallas.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to meeting you, sir.
Yeah, Olabi is in Dallas, so I think it's going to come for mastering the business of your talent. Messi Chuku, you are raising your hand. Do you have a question? Because we've exhausted our credits. Okay, Messi Chukuma, are you there? Okay, looks like she just mistakenly raised her hand. Okay, Steve, what's your final word for what's your final word to business people on how they can increase their profitability this year? And what are the programs that you have upcoming programs that you have? Yeah.
Please,
okay,
can I
well,
who is saying, can you ask a question? Messi will be looking for you.
Sorry, I was having an issue with my device. I'm so sorry, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, my question is this. I sell physical products and I also create a sickle cell awareness. Now, is it right to do same on my page?
No, do them separately.
Okay, sir.
Do them separately. If an NG, if Ford Foundation was going to give you a grant and they checked your page, they'll see sickle cell awareness and they'll see you selling physical products as well. They're not likely to support you. I'd say you should separate them.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, Steve, final word.
Oh, I forgot. I don't know. No, it's really simple. Invest in trusted authorities. You know, the reason some of us are going round and round in circles is we're too cheap. Can I just say it that way? We're too cheap. We want to figure things out ourselves, and it will cost you time and it will cost you money. You know what I mean? Get a guide, invest in trusted authorities. Thankfully, you've got Praise here. Praise is guaranteed a trusted authority, right? Look for trusted authorities who make your journey shorter. Pay them the amount of money that they will charge for whatever. I pace up. I sit down. Let me even say, I sit down with Licky Elder once for 1 hour every 2 months for 6 months. I pay over £1 million naira, right, to sit down with someone and pay for 1 hour every 2 months. Not 1 hour a day or 1 hour a week or 1 hour a month or 1 hour. Ayo, Lawrence, 1 hour in 2 months. We meet 6 times a year. I pay over £1 million naira, which means each session is conservatively about 300,000 naira. And because I recognized I wanted, this year I said to myself, maybe late last year, I said, man, there's a new dimension of me that I don't know how to unlock. Because I'm great, I'm doing well by the grace of God. But I know that there's this level that I see, but I didn't know how to get there. So I paid for the program one time, $1 million. And in the first meeting, I got my answer. In the first meeting, I got my answer. I got my answer for the next 7 years of my life, right? So every time we meet now, it's just follow up. So how far with what I told you? What are you doing? What are you doing? How are you, sir? How's the family? We just for what? But that first meeting, I got my roadmap for the next 7 years. Now, I would have been roaming around the desert like an Israelite, going around the mountain over and over again, trying to figure out how to figure this thing out without finding a trusted authority. So find trusted authorities, invest in their programs, sign up. Do I have any programs? Yes, I do. I have Mastering the Business of Your Talents, a physical event. It's holding in Dallas, in Richardson. For those of you who are in the Dallas area, it's $100. It's my first program in the US. So knock on wood and everything in between. We trust God, it will be amazing. Then for Lagos, I'm going to be in Nigeria. I have a program on the 2nd of May called the Goliath program. That is a program where, for the lack of a better terms, we want to create businesses that beats their competition hands down. We want to create businesses that are categories of one. We want to create businesses that are the ones that define their industry. We want to create businesses that dominate but don't compete. You know what I mean? The problem is many of us are competing. We're not dominating. So for the Goliath program, we're creating businesses. We're coaching businesses that want to dominate. We're not interesting. I gave an example yesterday to someone. I said Goliath had no business losing the battle to David, right? No matter how much we romanticize that story, if God was not involved in that story, David would have died 10 times out of 10. Right. So now we want to create businesses that dominate their competition. They're not in it to compete. They're in it to win. So that's our proposition. So it's 100K. It's holding on the 2nd of May. I'm trying. I have 2 special guests. I'm just waiting for their confirmation. I don't want to let the cat out the bag. But should you be interested in attending that course, it's a masterclass. It's not Aspire to Perspire. It's holding at the Oriental Hotel, full buffet, the whole 9 yards. It's a whole day strategy session for your business. So yeah, you're interested in that, send me a DM with the words Goliath, and maybe we can give you a House of Silence, House of Saviors, House of Saviors discount.
Okay, I think Steve is planning to start House of Silence. So let him go and start his House of Silence. And become their cult leader. Thank you very much, Steve. We really appreciate it. I appreciate it. Nice having you. Thanks for always obliging us whenever we call. I really am grateful for the gift of you. And I'm super blessed to have you as a friend. Thank you very much. Sir. Yeah, God bless you.
Thanks, bro. Bye,
okay, guys. And that's it. That was Steve Harris. Please, let's show him some love. Let's say thank you, bless you. Let's celebrate him over on the chat box. Well, that's it. We've done 1 month of sales and marketing. And so, like we said, we are not here to mark register or to just be doing talk show. It's about action. Nobody should come and ask me questions about, I don't know how to pitch my business anymore. Go produce results. That's what we want to see. Next month, many people have been asking about mentoring. Too many misconceptions. Who is a mentor? Is a mentor a sponsor? Is a sponsor? Is a mentor a tormentor? How do I choose a mentor? So many questions on mentoring. So next month, we will trash this issue of mentoring and the general misconceptions across Africa, and what people have done wrongly, and all what the mentees and mentors are doing wrongly. You don't want to miss that session. Invite your friends. We have space for about 100 people. We have 66 today, or 68 at some point. We will look forward to having you. It's every Sunday. I've told people this is the only platform that will be free this year. If you meet me outside of here, I'm going to charge you. Where I live, we charge per hour. So this is the best place you can be. So please make sure you show up. I will hand over to Ayo Lawrence. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Okay, over to you, Ayo.
Thank you so much, Pierre. And thank you so much, Steve Harris, for the session we had today. I was just seated here and I'm like, Lord, there's so much to do. But he has given us some templates. He has given us some formula for those of us that love mathematics, the X, the Y, the Z, to begin to position ourselves out there and such that we begin to get results. So thank you once again. We have a few announcements for us, even as we wrap up this